This is going to be about course rewards. We all, as human beings, desire to earn rewards because it is, of course, chemically embedded into our brains, which is the dopamine. But what does that look like in an online course setting? And how do you implement that in your online course? And more importantly, what software or WordPress plugin should you use to achieve this? So, when it comes to course rewards, basically what this is you are rewarding people, and this is up to you. You can either just reward them for completing the course, or you can also reward them for completing segments such as the lessons, the topics, or the videos, or even taking a quiz. So it would look something like this. So imagine these squares being parts of the course. So that could be video 1, this could be video 2, this could be video 3, and this could be video 4. So what you would want to do is you want to figure this out, and I highly recommend that you mind map it out and set up a mind map. But you want to figure out where the rewards will be given. Will it be given for every single video? So if that's the case, you're going to want to specify that and show that on the mind map as such. And maybe as they go through, we could have them earn a few points, maybe a few points here, and maybe a few points here, and maybe a very, very big point over here. Or if you think about it, a lot of times people will watch part of the videos and then they'll quit. So what you could do is right around the area that you think, or that you've discussed this with your students, right around that area that there's a drop off, you can put more points there. Now, if you're using a learning management system, it should automatically tell you how many people are actually completing the course. So if it's like 50% are completing 50% of the video, then put it here, right? So that's what you're going to want to do, is figure out where you want the rewards to trigger. Once you have that in mind, then and only then can you really move forward and start to implement the whole process. Now, there are several different rewards that you can give. You can give badges, which basically says, hey, I completed this course, or you can give them rewards or points that they can use to get something that they want. Okay, so if we go back to LearnDash here, learndash.com, one of the unique features that they have is the course points. So you can award points for completing courses and unlock new ones. In addition to that, you also have certificates and badges. So these would actually relate to the kind of the badges. It's not necessarily something that they get, but it's sort of like a boost of reputation. So as you can imagine, people join clubs, they join societies, and they ultimately want to move up in the ladder. So when they get badges or they get certificates, they feel like they're unique. So a little bit of competition in there is a good thing. Now, in terms of what you can use for badges, let's say, for example, you don't use LearnDash, you can use a WordPress plugin. This is actually a plugin. It's called Badge OS. And what it is, as you can see, it's a powerful WordPress plugin that allows you to create achievements and badges to show that your users have completed a certain task. So you could start with just this and only this if you would like to, but you can take it one step further, and there's a suite of WordPress plugins in terms of the gamification factor, which is called GamiPress.com. They have tons of WordPress plugins. Some are free, some are going to cost you a little bit of money, but for the most part, you can just take the gamification process to a whole new level. But my recommendation to you is to keep it simple. Use LearnDash, use these as the course rewards, badges, and more. And then, of course, we'll talk about engagement rewards. So it's one thing to earn rewards based on topics and lessons or courses completed. However, you want to make sure that people engage with your online course as well. So in other words, you want them to comment, you want them to perhaps talk to other students and engage with each other. So once you get people to engage with each other, more people will join in. And then of course, your online course will actually grow in terms of more engagement, which results in more back-end sales. Now, most of the time within online communities, the reality is that it sounds like crickets. It's silence. So because of this factor and because of this issue that only a few handful of people actually speak up, typically what we've found is 1 out of 100 people will actually speak up. So how do you get people to engage, comment, communicate with each other, and more? Well, what you can do is you can utilize GamiPress. GamiPress is a suite of WordPress plugins. It's not a SaaS platform, so if you use something like Teachable, you will not be able to do this. So in order to do this, you will need to have a WordPress site. Now, I've opened up a few tabs here. We've got free add-ons or free WordPress plugins that are extensions of GamiPress. So these are free. And of course, there are some that do cost some money. Now, you don't need to have all of these. What I would recommend you do is just pick a few. Now, GamiPress by itself, when we tested it, we found that you can set it up to say, if somebody comments, give them a certain amount of points. Or if somebody uploads media like a picture, a video, or an audio, then you can give them points as well. So to make more sense, let me find those plugins and I'll walk you through. So this can go past just engagement. It doesn't have to be only commenting. As you'll see in just a minute, there's so many different ways to gamify your site. But one thing to keep in mind is a lot of times you can get lost into this because, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's just, there's so many things that you could do. Okay, so on the free one, it says, this one's a button, and it says add activity events based on button clicks. So we don't really need that. Transfer notes, you don't really need any of that. Leaderboards can be a good thing to have, but I would recommend that you implement that after you've set up the main core of your site. Now, if we scroll down, this one actually is good to have. There's something called MyCred, which is kind of similar to GamiPress, but it does cost a little bit money to use. But in my opinion, I would just recommend that you stick with these plugins. And of course, as you can see, Badge OS Importer, that's good to have so that you can import different badges into GamiPress to be able to be used. Okay, so as you can see, in terms of the free extensions, there's not a ton, but there's a few, like the multimedia content. So if you had this set up and you wanted people to upload a certain image, maybe their homework, maybe whatever it could be, and by getting them to engage, getting them to upload whatever content that you're asking them to do, they get points. And then they can use those points to like go to the store and spend money or spend the points to get access to whatever they want. So that's the multimedia one. Under Pro, these are actually ones that cost money. Now, depending on what platform you use to run your site, whether it could be easy digital downloads, it could be WooCommerce. In other words, in terms of your store. There's also something called time-based rewards. As you can see here, you can add time-based rewards to let your users come back to claim them. So you could have something like Christmas or Thanksgiving, a certain holiday, and get them to come back to your site to get the rewards. There are other things like restrict lock, which you can lock certain elements, certain media content until they take a certain action. Now there's conditional emails, conditional notifications. Conditional notifications is actually another really good one. This is not necessarily engagement, but whenever somebody gets points, you can trigger a notification, kind of like a pop-up that says, hey, you got this many points. So when people see that, that actually triggers some dopamine, triggers and gets people thinking, oh, wow, I got this, or I got this reward, I'm happy now, kind of thing. So scrolling down, a lot of these you don't really need. Referrals, that can be good. So these you don't really need. Transfers, daily login rewards is another good one, so that people can log in every single day to get rewards. So this can actually help you in terms of people that completely forget about your course. So if they log in every single day, they can get rewards by doing that. Now, if you scroll down here, if you're using something like WooCommerce, then you can use the WooCommerce Points Gateway. So what that means is as people are earning rewards or points, they can then go to your WooCommerce store and purchase with their points. So what this does is it kind of creates a bridge in between WooCommerce and your WordPress online community. So scrolling down here, here's a progress map. So this is really good for the progress trigger, which we talked about earlier. This one as well, this is kind of a circle progress map, and this one is more of a roadmap type thing. They have more, you can see it in when I open it up here. And scroll down. This kind of gives you a better idea of what it looks like. So this is more of kind of a roadmap. So this would do really well when it comes to progress maps. Now, a lot of these you don't really need, like these here, and leaderboards you can have, but as I said, implement that at the last moment after you've set everything up. Otherwise, it's going to get complex. So as you can see, you can really get lost and try to install every single one of these plugins. Now, bear in mind, each one of them costs money. Now, if you want, they have what we call these all access passes, where you pay a fee and you get access to either everything or certain things. What I recommend is just simply pick and choose the ones that you really need. And most of that is actually within GamiPress itself. In fact, if you just want to give people rewards and points based on commenting, GamiPress already has that built in. You don't need the add-ons. The add-ons simply basically expands it and makes it more engaging. So hopefully that explains a lot of detail in terms of which plugin you should use, what site you should use, and all that. I know I'm not necessarily showing you how to use them, but a lot of this information that I'm telling you took many months to figure out many years ago. So you're getting the condensed version. So what I recommend again is just download GamiPress and start with the basics. You don't really need anything except maybe the progress map, the notifications, and this one's actually, these are pop-ups that come up. And then of course, eventually you want to have the daily points where the daily rewards, this one here, and this one here if you want to have a WooCommerce store. Those are the ones that I would initially start out with before moving to anything else. So I hope you enjoyed that video. We're going to talk about in the next video how to get your students back if they've totally forgotten about your course.